I love olives. I love cooking with olives. I love cooking with extra virgin olive oil. I love the plant, and I love how gnarly and twisted it looks when it gets really old. The colour of the olive tree melds well with Australian native plants, and I love the zen of harvesting olives slowly and also pickling them and processing them. Turn around. Hello and welcome back to my channel. Meet my 15-year-old olive tree. He doesn't have a name, and he doesn't have a variety name either. Unfortunately, got lost over the years. The olive was purchased in 2009, and it was a tiny tube stock that I purchased at a farmer's market, and then it was just upgraded into bigger and bigger pots until it outgrew one of my bigger pots, and I thought, here's a good position to put it. They've got nice shallow roots, olives, so it's probably not the worst plant to put close to your house, and I decided to have it as a feature tree on this side of my house. When you're in the store looking at green and black olives on the shelf, it's worth knowing that all olives start out olive green and then they sort of turn a purpley colour and then black as they ripen. There is no way that you can eat an olive straight off the tree. It's very bitter and needs treatment in brine or water to remove that bitterness. In processing the olives, the green olive is much more bitter than the black olive, and it needs to pickle a lot longer. Some olives can take months to lose their bitterness, and some olives in themselves just take longer to pickle than others in any case. When picking your olives, if you drop it, just discard it, because those bruises can really affect the whole process of pickling. Olives produce a good crop every second year, and so they have a year of rest. People say that the age of the tree is a factor in the flavour of the olives. The older the tree, the tastier. And so, mine's only 15 years old, so I've got a bit of a way to go yet. I'm more interested in getting ahead of the birds, and I have left it too late at times and lost heaps. I start picking when I have a mix of black and green olives, and I bottle the two types of fruit separately because they require slightly different treatment. The fact that I need a ladder to harvest the majority of my fruit means that I probably need to think about pruning the top of the tree down a little lower. The advantage of the height of this tree is that it puts it into much more of a full sun position, and olive trees prefer full sun, so that's to be considered when choosing a position to plant an olive tree. Although it does shade a part of my garden, and so I have to have a bit of a balance between the height and size of this tree and the amount of sun that I want to get in my garden. Best time to prune is in late autumn, early winter, after you've harvested all your fruit. So I'm targeting all these low-hanging branches that rub against my head as I walk past, especially awful on a wet day. And then following on from that, looking at branches that are crossing and rubbing against each other, because that reduces disease. I'm also looking out for any branches that are dead to cut them off. One of the good things about olives is that they respond really well to a hard prune. They do bounce back, and also worth knowing, where you cut is where the new shoots will grow from. So I guess cut a little lower than the height that you're intending the tree to be. Also make sure that you're cutting back to a node or a branch. My main reason for pruning is just to stop the tree from getting too big, so that I can reach the fruit, and so that it doesn't throw too much shade on my garden. I like to mulch my prunings and use them in a raised bed, and I interleave it with leaves and other organic matter from the garden. Alright, and the last bit will be the top of the tree. I just have to reduce it in height a little bit as well. So that was a significant branch, but it was hanging over the roof, and better for the long-term shape and size of the tree to have it gone. Olives also grow really well in pots. This one is quite leggy, as it's been in a space that was way too shady for it for some time, but it's on its way to a sunnier position soon, but not before I give it a good prune. And the principles are pretty much the same as the big tree. We're going for a goblet shape, and we're going to cut off dead or damaged, diseased, and branches that are crossing and rubbing, and generally just cut it to the desired shape. The main bird soundtrack are some sulphur-crested cockatoos that are raising a family in the tree next door. I'm basically getting rid of anything growing inward. this branch here to go. Stems that are just growing in the middle. This one here growing in the middle. I'm just trying to basically get a bit of a goblet shape going. That's very tall, this one here. I'm going to take it off. I'm going to take this cross branch off, and this one, I think it has to go. Now I'm going to move it to a warmer part of my house for the winter. To cure olives, start with a kilogram of hard, fresh black olives. A sharp knife, put a slit into each side of the olive. I'm going to use some flavours from the garden to marinate the olives. I'm going to use some bay leaves, rosemary, lemon, and crushed garlic. Sterilising the jars is very important. Wash them first in soapy water and then place them in the oven. Then you turn the oven on to 110 degrees centigrade and let the oven heat up to that temperature, and then leave in for a few minutes and then turn the oven off and get your glasses out. You also need to boil the lids for a few minutes as well. Spoon some of the scored olives into the bottom of the jar and then place the rind, the bay leaves, rosemary and other flavours that you might have somewhere in the middle, and then top it up with more olives. Make sure the olives are completely covered with brine. To make the brine, it's 1 part salt to 10 parts water, or the solution is a 10% solution for brine. Seal the jars and store on the shelf. The black olives will be ready in about 3 to 6 weeks, and the green olives, it'll take over about 3 months. And now a recipe, and I'm going to be showcasing the momentous occasion of cracking open my first jar of olives for the season. I'm thinking an old favourite, salad nicoise, and I'm going to elevate it with some really nice produce from a new local market. And yes, I am buying store-bought eggs because these guys have stopped laying over the winter. Either that or they've got a stash somewhere that I can't find.